All right, welcome everybody. This is Ryan Case here, Division Manager. I am here with Kendle Smith. Kendle Smith is one of my favorite people I have ever trained. Graduated from Cal Poly Pomona. He started right after his senior year, I believe, of high school, worked all the way through college, took 2 years out of that time for a church mission, finished his Cutco sales over $500,000. Kendall can tell me, I think it was 10, maybe 12 scholarships, the All-American scholarships there.
It was 10.
10 scholarships. And graduated instead of student loans, had a good amount of money saved in the bank, which now is great because he's a certified financial planner, and I'm sure that money has done some good things for him there. So, Kendall, tell us a little bit when you started. Were you one of those people that started off and just shot off like a rocket?
No, not at all. The exact opposite. I was pretty bad when I first started.
So I think I remember your first 9 demos, you sold a paring knife. And
that was to my parents.
Good old parents. I remember, though, you were one of the hardest workers. You were doing like 20 demos a week. But when you're turning in qualified presentation reports, you rarely were even over $1,000 with some of those 20 for your first few weeks there. I think when you started your first SC2 push, you were around $4,000 in sales. And then for that push period, do you remember what you sold for your very first SC2 push?
Yeah, it was $3,308.
So that was close to doubling your sales. I think that put you around $8,000. So what was a big turnaround between those first few, 4 or 5 weeks of the summer and then those last 2 of push period?
I think a lot of it, I had some experience. I kind of knew what I was doing, and my mindset was a little different too. Because when I first started, I was working part-time at a fast food place. It was a KFC at A&W, so I was making like $8 an hour there. And I'm like, well, I get $16 per appointment base pay, so might as well just do as much appointments as I can. Who cares if I sell anything? And then I got to the point where I'm like, well, I could make a lot more money if I actually do sell stuff. So, hey, I guess I learned more and throughout the process and just took it more seriously.
Yeah. So once you started trying, you really started seeing those results. I remember when you started too, one of the things you started was the Vector Connect talks. And that was way back then. If you saw how many talks are on there now, it would blow your mind. There's just hundreds and hundreds. But what was your reasoning for why were you spending any time listening to that stuff?
Because I wanted to get better, and I knew that if I just did stuff on my own, I would get better eventually. But I guess for me, it just helped learning from people who knew what they were doing and just learning from their experience instead of from my own mistakes.
Sweet. And then so you sold like $3,000. I don't know if that won a trophy or anything. I don't think it did that summer conference too.
I think I barely got on stage. I think my goal is to get on stage, which was $3,000. I did it. So.
Great. Well, you got on stage. So then you finished that summer about 10,000, but then that next fall you sold 30,000. So you sold 10,000 in the summer, and then when you started fall as a freshman at college, you sold 30,000 that fall. What were some things that led to such a huge difference there?
Let's see. It was a long time ago. It was like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. But let's see.
I remember you went to – one of the big things was we had our key staff. And so I remember you got your promotion to key staff in September, and we had to talk your parents into letting you go to Conference of Champions in Vegas as an 18-year-old. But I think those 2 things, I remember the week after Vegas, I think you had like a $3,500 week, if I can remember right. So were you doing 25 demos a week around your school schedule?
No.
But how much were you doing?
I don't remember exactly. Maybe average of 7 or 8, I would say. Yeah, maybe 10. But I don't know if I do over 10 too often.
I think 7 to 8 was kind of your standard on there. And not working Sundays. I remember your Mondays were always real big, like Monday, Tuesday. I remember at the team meetings, a lot of times you were already at 1,000 from doing 3 or 4 demos. So that seemed like a big key. So you really shot off then. But, one of the big things I wanted to ask you about your SC2 push, and not because you've had a $3,000 one, but because the next ones, what happened for your next 2 or 3 SC2 pushes? How much did you sell?
So the first one at 3,300. The second one the following year was just over 10K.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one after that was 16K. And then I don't remember when I took the 2-year break, but it was somewhere in there. But then the following one I did 17K, and then I did a 20K push my last one.
20,000. Wow. From 3,000 to 20,000. Now, your first $10,000 push, I remember that one very specifically because I remember I still tell the story where on Tuesday, I don't know if you remember, but you had a homemaker sale. And then like on Wednesday morning, they called you and something happened. They crashed their car or they couldn't buy it that week. And then that day you sold an Ultimate and you came to the team meeting, you're like, yeah, I sold Ultimate. And then the next day they're like, yeah, we can't do that. And
I forgot about that, but yeah.
So that first $10,000 push, your first week, I believe you only sold about 2,700. And so I mean, this is a long time ago. We're talking about, I think 2007. You know, what do you remember at all where your head was at after? I know your goal was 10 grand and then you hadn't done $10,000 in 2 weeks ever before. You finished at 2,700. How did you feel after that point?
I think I still wanted to do 10K, but I didn't know if I could do it. But I had a lot of momentum, I had a lot of demo set up, so I knew there's the possibility that if I continued to work, I could still do it. So I was still motivated.
Sweet. And I remember you started off and that next week you crushed it. You did like 7,300. It was, I think, your biggest week at the time. And then, so then after you'd sold 10,000 in 2 weeks, that's $5,000 in income from where you were at. And you were a college student. That was a lot. So when it came around for the next year at SC2, why not just like, I'll just shoot for 10,000 again? You know, because 10,000 is tough. I mean, you have to work hard for that. What was your thinking going into your third and your fourth push periods of what your goals were?
I think I just had the feeling that, hey, I already did 10K. I can do that again. So I wanted something to challenge me, push me, and stretch me. So I set the goal for 15K. And just wanted to do more than what I did the previous year.
So I was just getting better. That's great. And then that 20 grand, the last one, making $10,000 in a couple of weeks. I think you just graduated, right?
Yeah.
So you just finished. You're graduating. You're going to work out the summer, and then right before you got your financial job, correct? Yeah, sweet. Well, do you have any, there's reps from all across the division, a lot of new people, some more veterans, but what kind of tips would you have for help, either for motivating people for push or just preparing for push? Like you never even did phone time on Sunday nights, which a lot of reps will do to load up their push period week. So what are some tips for you to prepare and get ready and have a big push?
So some preparation tips. So I would say just practice on yourself, on your skill set. Like you have to have a solid demo. One of the things that really helped me is doing my demo for the key staff and getting critique from everybody. So definitely you have to have a thick skin for that because got a lot of negative marks on it. But maybe bring somebody field training, or if you can't do it through key staff, but just have somebody else look at it to see areas that you can't see yourself.
Got it.
So that was helpful. And then work on what you're not good at. So what I did, those Vector Connect talks, is find specific areas that you can improve on. And just have a lot of leads ready and just prepare your schedule. Don't plan any weekend trips or anything during that time, and just be prepared to work.
So that was like your 2 weeks where you blocked off, this is 2 weeks I'm going big for summer.
Yeah, I think, I don't remember which summer it was, but I think my first summer I was even in summer school. So I had a couple classes during push as well.
Yeah, I remember
just kind of blocked off.
First 10K push, you were doing a lot of summer classes still there.
Yeah.
So awesome. And then, so Kendall, you've been out of Vector for a good number of years now, out in the financial planning world. Just to finish up, what have you seen that the stuff that you learned at Vector that is translated to beyond Vector years? Just a couple things, anything that stands out to you?
Oh, a ton of stuff. Just learning how to talk to people is a huge one, because I was super shy, super quiet when I started. I still am, but at least I know how to communicate and how to talk to people and relate to people. The sales skills, those apply to anything. I use that in my job all the time. Let's see what else. Just a lot of the work habits that most people out there don't get the skills from Vector. When I was working at KFC and A&W, I learned very little real world skills doing that. So just a lot of skills that translate to anything.
Wait, anything you miss?
Let's see. I do miss dunking on you.
Yeah, that didn't happen very often. Only a couple times.
It was like once, but no, I did like our key staff meetings, our team meetings. Those are a lot of fun. Those are a lot of fun, and going to the conferences and hanging out.
Nice. Yeah, conferences were a good time. I know you had some good friendships and some good competitions rolling there. Well, I really appreciate you helping out, Kendall. This will be helpful for a lot of reps. I'm sure that if they take it to heart, they'll see some of those same type of results. So reps, thank you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.